Sound the trumpets, armor up. It's time for the Clash Royale League. Right now, a showdown between the two top teams in North America. Backstab X and the Young Gun Skills lead Counter Logic Gaming on a mission to take down the undefeated and seemingly unstoppable Complexity Gaming. Of course, Raza and the Aztec Eagle Adrian Piedra have other plans. This, my friends, is what it's all about!
Hello and welcome to Clash Royale League. I'm Rich Slayton. Joining me is Paul in Verum Toddkill for more action here in Week 3 of CRL. And the standings are crazy right now. A huge battle in the middle, trying to make their way into those top 4 slots.
Oh yeah, really just fighting against Complexity here. They're out 4-0 right now. But CLG 2-1, looking to make it 3-1, looking to give Complexity their first loss.
And of course, the top 4 teams at the end of the season will make it to the playoffs. The winner of those playoffs represents North America in the World Finals.
And of course, you can catch all the action right here. So make sure to hit subscribe on the Clash Royale League Esports YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button, or go over to esports.clashroyale.com or check out the esports tab in-game.
And today, 2 of the top teams in North America, the undefeated Complexity, going up against CLG, looking to secure the second place spot.
This is going to be a very interesting matchup right now. Complexity have been looking so strong, finally giving up their first loss. But CLG, I have to say, like, if skills can go off here, if Backstab X and Geo, if they can do it, it's got to be right now. They've got to make their mark against Complexity. Like I was saying, they lost their first ever 2v2 game. Not match, but game so far. They've been looking, as we said, unstoppable overall. They are a juggernaut right now in this competition.
Very important to clarify that. Not their first game loss.
Just game.
That's how well they're playing right now, and there are so many players on Complexity stepping up, and most recently it's been Adrian Piedra hitting it out of the park for his team, and standing by with him right now is our friend Christy St. John.
Thanks, guys. Adrian, you and Complexity are on a roll. It feels unstoppable. How are you going to keep this streak going today?
Well, we're going to keep training, and we're going to show today.
Sounds good. And you specifically have never lost a King of the Hill match. That is insane. How do you prepare for that? I noticed you were very, very intense right before this match.
Yeah, well, we basically have like a good mindset, and that's what matters, to be honest. Maybe at the beginning of the league, I didn't have one, but now I'm working on that.
Focus, listen to some music, and take home that W. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Christy. Looks like Adrian's mouth all healed up. You saw him wincing in pain and in happiness at that victory last time. And of course, he's preparing to jump into, I don't know, most likely 1v1, seeing how he's been so strong there in the past. But let's take a moment and review our format.
It all starts off with our 2v2, the new match format here in the CRL, going on to our 1v1. And if we need to go to our tiebreaker ace match game number 3, we will go to that King of the Hill format. Of course, each of these sets have their own unique bans.
And we don't expect any big surprises on lineups here. Both teams doing a great job, but the ban cards, of course, being a big part of strategy. So let's take a peek inside the war room.
All right, guys, balance changes came out. We know what's good. We know what's bad. We know what's going to work. For the 2v2, we banned Poison. They banned NATO. That's what we predicted.
Yep. We know what to do.
We have our strategy. It's going to be really, really interesting to run that. And for the second game, I say we switch it up to just be more strategic in that way. For the 1v1 skills, I already told you, but you keep on improving. You're one of the best players I know. You're very confident. We studied Adrian Piedra. I have no doubt that you will get this win for us. So let's go on 3. COG.
Let's go, boys.
1, 2, 3. COG!
So you guys put the time in, right? So you've practiced. You're 4-0, but your record isn't going to help you today. It's the preparation that you did, right? Yeah. So it's staying up late last night and printing stuff off. It's waking up and eating together and making sure that you're hanging out together. Like, these are the kind of things that are going to make you successful. Don't second guess yourself. Whatever you decide to do, that's it. You've prepared, so you're ready. So you're good to go. Got it?
Complexity on 3.
Let's go, Cole.
1, 2, 3.
Complexity! It's Complexity.
Yeah,
2 top teams on a collision course. Round 1, a star-studded 2v2 throwdown. Colton W83 and Raza Backstab X and Geo walk the tunnel and begin this battle.
A potential early preview of the playoffs to come, kicking things off for 2v2 Complexity versus CLG.
Backstab X and Geo once again taking to the floor to represent Counter Logic Gaming, going up against the wall that is Colton and Razor. I hope you see what I did there.
Colton and Razor undefeated so far in sets for 2v2. And here we go, the ban cards. Things that we expect, Tornado and Poison.
The two most banned cards, head and shoulders above the rest here in 2v2. So much utility, so much versatility, and so much value from these massive area of effect spells. Get them off the board. Let's see how these teams get creative.
I mean, very talented teams. Of course, CLG took their first loss, going up against a very talented team in TSM, but here they're going up against the Giants in Complexity.
Let's go, boys. Fire up.
The jerseys match the corners. Complexity in the red and red corner. CLG in the blue corner. Let's go.
Let's get into it right off the bat. Lava Hound making an appearance, but the Tombstone and Inferno Dragon in response. Complexity having all the tools in their arsenal to deal with that.
Now, in the last few days, we've seen the meta in 2v2 shift a little bit, going a little bit more quick, but looks like we might see some more week 1, week 2 CRL here coming up in a moment.
It might be, going back to the tried and true here, as we do see a double witch now taken to the field with 3 witches on board, all things said and done, as we are seeing a whole lot of skeleton generation throwing a graveyard on the back of that, and that's a whole lot of little skellies.
The Coven coming down the left-hand side, but it's the Fireball wiping them out. A nice response here to pick up that graveyard play.
That was really solid there, having the Baby Dragon in the back to help clean that up with the Lumberjack to boot. We are seeing the Golem now coming down once again from Complexity. So we are seeing a return to that standard beatdowns that we've seen a lot of here. But speaking of a lot of damage now coming in onto that left-hand tower, the response not quite there from Complexity.
Well, you got to think now that Complexity is seeing that they have the bigger, heavier deck, willing to take some damage as they prepare to get closer to double elixir time.
They are just going to allow this Golem to get cleaned up as it marches down the lane. Interesting witch positioning there as well, though. Just trying to get those Golemites in to get the splash damage onto the tower. But I love the response now from CLG, not once varying from their win condition, pushing that Lava Hound through.
And there we go, the Fireball maybe a half step early before that clone, and the left-hand tower of Complexity now in real danger of going down as we approach double elixir time.
This is a really good position for CLG to be in right now. Of course, double elixir time is, going to favor the Golem over here as well, but we do still have quite a lot of initial damage already done, already in Fireball range. That tower is absolutely going to go down. The question now becomes, can Complexity respond?
You got to think that the Complexity has maybe 1 or 2 pushes left. And here we go, the Graveyard Freeze. They need to get some value out of this one because, again, the clock is ticking down. They are playing a slower and heavier deck. They need to get on there, but the left-hand tower down for Complexity. Can they pull this out with just 30 seconds remaining?
So much energy here for CLG. These players are hyped. They've got the tower down, and they're in a good position to defend with only 23 seconds left on the clock. This is going to be very difficult to deal with. We're actually seeing the Skeleton Barrel there as well, slugging on through the top. Rich, what a great spot for CLG.
The lane is clogged up unless something magical happens here and they get the freeze down. Maybe they can take this left-hand tower, but the giant snowball cleans up a lot of those skeletons. We are down 100, and it does drop! We are going into sudden death overtime.
2 seconds left on the clock. Complexity able to take it there with the GY freeze coming in as well. Fun fact, Graveyard in 2v2 only sitting like a 56% win rate. When you add in the freeze to that, the win rate skyrockets. Freeze has almost a 65% win rate in competitive 2v2. There is a reason why. This is a heavy wombo combo card, and we're seeing it now.
I do not know what deity Colton and Razor do or don't talk to, but they are getting blessed right now, continuing to slide through in those waning moments. A mixture of great play, great timing, and a little bit of luck, and here we are in sudden death overtime.
The ads are spawning to the nth degree on this right lane right now between skeletons, between the bats. What a crazy back and forth brawl we are witnessing here. What a way to start this off today in North America. CLG showing they can go toe to toe with NA's best.
Paul, this is what we expected. Both of these teams are built with amazing players. Both have showed off their skills so far. So as we go into the remaining 2 minutes, I think this bloodbath is going to continue.
I expect nothing less. Look at the witches pumping out all these skeletons, ripping through the tanks here, or at least this golem as well, distracting these pups, trying to keep them off the tower. Beautiful hold there from Complexity. The Golemites will get a touch of splash there, but look at this. With the tombstone in the back, with the witches up in front, how do you get through this?
So many witches, so many skeletons. It looks like a very boring Halloween on the board, and now we have Graveyard Freeze on the right-hand side. This can change the tenor of the match so quickly.
Going through right now, trying to find the opening, or just forcing it through, creating their own Complexity, finally getting the combo off there once again. But stabilizing now is CLG with the aggressive Lava Hound. This is their chance to turn it around.
Now again, with just 1 minute remaining, remember that in these first 2 sets for 2v2 and 1v1, we do have true draws that can happen. So at this point, you might be thinking, let's not overextend. Maybe let's play for the draw, reset. We're gonna get one more push from Colton and Razor. Will they try to close this thing out, or will these teams settle to try to come back in game number 2 and take the lead there?
Neither side wants to overextend at this point. That could spell disaster, but at the same time, neither team wants to give up the pressure, as we do see the push coming in there, trying to get the pups in onto the tower. The skeleton barrel is there as well, slowly ripping through it, but I don't think either team is potentially going to find an opening here. We are going to have to see a crazy Graveyard Freeze combo, but it's not going to happen yet.
Yeah, Graveyard Freeze, I think, is the only thing that could steal it here in the last few seconds, but I think Geo and Backstab do have the responses for it. We are going to probably, yeah, I believe so. We are going to see a draw here, unless, I could be wrong. Could this get taken in the last few seconds? That can change so quickly. Down under 1,300, under 1,000. The snowball probably saves the day, and there we go. Wow. Take a breath, sit back, get a massage, because that was a whole lot of stress.
Oh boy, just have a sip of water, take a seat back, because this is absolutely crazy. This final push coming in through there as well. Just able to secure it with that freeze there, with the graveyard, and finally sealing that out with the lightning. Just absolutely beautiful play from Complexity with 2 seconds remaining on the clock. It doesn't get much closer than that.
I really want to take Razor with me to Vegas, because the cards always seem to fall in his favor. And here we go. So the true draw did happen. Here's what happens next. We still have 2 more games left in the regular portion. If someone wins both of those, that's it. If they do split the next 2 games, though, we will go to a 4th game, including those tiebreaker lowest tower rules.
Let's get it.
See if we need it here, Rich, as we get into game number 2 here, though again, with the way the tiebreaker works out, this could just be a whole reset here of game number 1. Both of these teams looking to, I think, come out swinging maybe in a slightly different way, though, as we are seeing the Prince charging on through.
The Prince with that recent buff, we've said before, we'll say it again, now seeing a resurgence, and yet again it is the Witch coming down, spawning a billion skeletons, it seems like.
That was a fun change. I actually think that was a really great way to sort of augment her kit there, and just, not necessarily a buff to hers herself, but the way she spawns those out, and especially in 2v2, we're seeing just slowing down a lot of these troops, constantly have to clean up and stop and deal with these skeletons. Of course, troops like the Golem are just going to keep on marching through, but if, you let that keep going for too long, the skeletons will actually start to rip it apart.
And the Cannon Cart now going to take care of one Witch. The Night Witch, though, stopping the Cannon Cart in its tracks. Very nice high play there from Colton and Razor.
And we are going to see the Golemites make it on through to the tower, so that splash damage is going to connect the Inferno Dragon a little bit too far back to clean it up in too much in time here. But we are now seeing a nice push being put together here. Both of these teams, of course, having the stereotypical beatdown that we've seen a lot so far here in competitive 2v2 with the GY on the back of that as well. This is actually one of my favorite sort of overall archetypes that we've seen, especially when you add in the freeze.
Colton and Razor hitting that Graveyard Freeze, and they will get some significant damage on the right-hand tower, taking it down to under 900 hit points.
This is absolutely my favorite style that we've seen develop overall in 2v2. You have a big, threatening push up front. The second it starts to cross over the bridge and your opponents are forced to respond, drop that Graveyard in the back, put the freeze on top, shut it all down. There is a reason this combo is so crucial here, and I was going to say so pivotal to a lot of these decks, because you need to have the threat up front as well. It's very easy to just look to clean it up when there's nothing else in front, but you have something like a Golem marching down. that's when it becomes a whole lot more difficult to deal with.
The Prince there putting the Golem on his horse. Let's get moving, buddy. We want you on that tower. A nice fireball in the back, though, taking out some of the support for Backstab and Geo's push.
I like this a whole lot, shutting down that cannon cart there as well, not allowing it to cross the bridge. Still did a decent amount of work there with the Musketeer to boot, but that was overall a very solid hold there from Complexity, as they're now like the mount a push of their own. The Double Prince now coming in from CLG, something we've seen, more recently even in 1v1.
Well, Giant Double Prince, a pretty standard 1v1 deck at one point that many of you probably ran up against. Interesting seeing it here in 2v2. And so far, this looks like the difference is that that Backstab and Geo don't have a way to the tower other than the Golem. I mean, they can play the Miner in the back, but really the Graveyard here gets right on it, and that's going to be it. Colton and Razor doing the deed, taking the second game here and putting themselves one win away from maintaining that beautiful perfect 2v2 record.
The double log coming through there from CLG, trying to save it there, but not quite able to do so. Again, it really just has to deal with having this big threat up front and then able to execute with the Graveyard in the back, slip it in behind enemy lines. We saw that the log did a decent job of trying to protect it here, but just this kind of crucial damage, you let this through consistently. All it takes is twice.
Well, we've talked about how hard it is to count Elixir in 2v2 when you don't know who plays what, but what you do know is when the board is filled with expensive troops, there are openings, and we saw there in that first big push that there was nothing left for Geo and Backstab to defend that with. The Graveyard got on there, and really fantastic play. Pretty even across the board in terms of how they spend their Elixir.
4-troop Elixir. That is the only difference across all of these stats. That just goes to show that how you play the game matters. Yeah, they basically spent identical amounts of resources, but it was a very solid, convincing win there for CLG.
So here we go.
Can
CLG tie it up, or will Complexity wrap a bow on it here in 2v2?
Let's go, boys.
And one more reminder, Poison and Tornado, both off the board from the bands. Colton and Razor, top of your screen. CLG's Backstab X and Geo at the bottom.
Complexity just one game away from keeping the 2v2 streak alive. CLG to come back in a big way right in here. I mean, they need to find a way to deal with this Golem push with the Graveyard in the back. They just need to address this more, because I don't think Complexity is going to change that until they force out a mass response. Yeah, you get fun stuff like that with the cannon cart, getting that good chip damage through, but you still have to deal with this Golem.
But Paul, that cannon cart getting through there, doing so much damage early on, that's 800 hit points down so early. Remember, Backstab and Geo have played some smaller cards that sneak in through the back, and I think that one could end up being a pretty big factor here in game number 3.
I mean, it's no way to start a game if you are Complexity right here, just letting that go. I mean, they committed the Mega Minion to it there as well, but just not really wanting to commit the resources there, instead wanting to focus on their own push. Maybe it might come back to bite them. You might absolutely have nailed it there, Rich, because look, this push was absolutely shut down by CLG right there. Complexity opting to just give up on that right-hand tower in terms of defense. That might cost them.
Interesting, now a Golem push on the right-hand side. I expected to see more Miner play over there, and now with the Golem on the right-hand side, it's Complexity bringing the Graveyard, and are we going to see a freeze here on the left? It doesn't come out, so the Graveyard gets picked up pretty well there by the Dark Prince.
I like that, not wanting to overcommit there. That's 4 more Elixir that you're going to have to commit to that push, not necessarily where you want to be at this point when you have, a defense that you need to execute here on the right-hand side. The Golem is going to make it down to the tower. We're going to get the splash damage, and the double Golemite splash damage there as well. That is actually huge. CLG here in this next game, or this game we're seeing now, I guess game number 3 technically, is doing so much work here to start this off. They seem to have found a bit of an opening here in the armor of Complexity.
I really think that it all comes down to letting that cannon cart through early. It showed a little hole in the armor, but here we go now. The right-hand tower of CLG down in significant danger as well.
There you go, finding that response there as well. That one lone Baby Dragon hit coming through there onto that right tower. Only 806 HP remaining, so a solid position right now with 40 seconds left in regulation time here for CLG. They're going to look to once again mount this push, but I like it. The Tombstone is there to just slow it down, but they need to deal with this Inferno Dragon, and there's the freeze there as well.
Yeah, the defensive freeze usually not something you love, but in this case, I do like it with that tower down at 806. They know they have the cards to mount that defense. Reset, get yourself ready, and prepare for your next push.
And yeah, unfortunately, again, that's not usually how you want to use it, but I think the necessary evil here at this stage of the game. Both team, you like it. You called it the Coven. This is huge.
Take a look there, though. The high golem played, and at this moment, it's going to force a lot of responses, and the golem soaking up that damage. We have the graveyard down. Will we see the freeze to back it up? No, it gets eaten up by the log and the Night Witch. A nice fireball, though, and now it's complexity. The graveyard there, or the freeze a little bit late, but still getting some damage is complexity.
Interesting decision there to use the freeze so late there in that instance. We are going to have a bit of a counter push coming in now from CLG. Dark Prince going to get cleaned up there as well. The Golem having this response with the Tombstone, of course, to bait it into the mid. But down to under 300 HP is the right-hand tower for complexity.
Yeah, I was going to say all they have to do is defend here because they do have the right-hand tower of CLG down in double fireball range. But now, just in single fireball range, and the double fireball comes out. The cycle is kind to complexity. They had their tower down in double and then single fireball range, but their fireballs made it first. And Colton and Razor keeping that undefeated 2v2 set record intact. Oh my gosh, can it ever end?
They had a draw to their list now. One draw, hey, you know what? That's better than most. We saw some amazing play coming out from CLG, but in this war of attrition, complexity kept their cool. Look at how low this tower was, but once you get under that 402 mark,
and you got to feel gutted there because you can see the reaction from Geo and Backstab. You can see down there he was tapping the fireball like, please load, please load, please load, and it just couldn't get there fast enough. Colton and Razor do it once again, sending complexity into the 1v1 set with a lead, and that much closer to going 5-0 here in CRL.
Beautiful play here from them. Just, again, showing that they are undisputedly the kings of 2v2 in North America. But it's not over yet. CLG.
It's not over yet at all.
Oh, they've got a chance to come back in this. It's going to be right now. They've put all their money in this 1v1 basket. It's really something you have to know this going in if you're CLG. You have to like, look, we think we can probably win 2v2, but it's going to be tough. So you know they have to be putting the focus in on this 1v1 set.
Two of the best players in 1v1 about to go head-to-head. King, what do we got coming up next?
Complexity and CLG have locked horns, but this epic battle is just beginning. Now, a marquee 1v1 matchup between franchise stars, the Young Gun, Skills, and the Aztec Eagle, Adrian Piedra. Let's get it on!
And no surprises here, the 1v1 specialists for CLG and Complexity putting on their headsets, getting ready to go to war.
This is going to be a very interesting matchup here. Adrian Piedra has struggled a little bit in the 1v1. He's obviously gone clutch in the King of the Hill, but Skills, when this guy is on point, when he's feeling comfortable in his decks, he is an absolute monster.
Skills also doing great in King of the Hill, had a tough loss to Vulcan in their last match, but in King of the Hill has done a great bit of work here. Adrian Piedra, you said the same thing, although he is coming off a massive beat, coming back and getting the reverse sweep against Guanic from NRG.
Yeah, Adrian Piedra, when this guy, again, when he's feeling comfortable, both of these players, if they put themselves in positions where they like their decks, they feel comfortable in their matchups, they're going to look solid. Electro Wizard and Royal Hogs.
Royal Hogs a pretty standard ban here. Electro Wizard, though, I don't know if you've seen that yet here in 1v1.
Very interesting ban coming out. Royal Hogs, of course, being the most banned card in 1v1, bar none. Over 130 bans on that card. So interesting to see how these players will play around this.
The E-Wiz ban, we'll see how that factors in. We'll talk a bit about those decks in just a moment as we kick off 1v1.
Go Skills!
Adrian Piedra, top of your screen. Skills there at the bottom, trying to keep CLG in the mix here at the top of your leaderboards.
So interesting to see this Electro Wizard coming out now. So there's a couple things that kind of come to mind when you think about that. Of course, Electro Wizard very good at shutting down that Inferno Dragon, so maybe going to be looking to play something around that. Interesting ban though overall because again we've seen some changes to the Zappies being made who function around some similar mechanics with their reload and stuff, but I'm really going to be curious. It's interesting to talk to Adrian Piedra at some point and get his thoughts behind that ban.
Although we are seeing the Goblin Barrel out early, so we actually have seen this before in recent days. The Prince being worked into a bait deck, so with that buff, it has taken up a spot in that part of the meta. And here we go. The Goblin Barrel is going to cycle over and over and over again here on that left-hand tower.
Instantly having the response with that Mega Minion, though, is going to be Skills. Going to look to shut down this push quite convincingly here, not allowing that Prince to get through. The Prince does hit like an absolute truck. You do not want to let him anywhere near your tower.
This is interesting, though, Paul, because notice that Skills has the Tornado. So one thing that might do here is force Adrian Piedra to keep playing that Goblin Barrel in kind of the same spot, not really able to juke and create differences each time he throws it down.
Well, it's going to be interesting because you even saw the predictive Mega Minion perfectly in position because he knows you only can put it on that left-hand side of the tower here on your screen. You cannot put the Goblin Barrel in here on the right because it will get pulled in. We did see the Poison Burn to take down that Princess, deny, takes, or not deny rather, but put some additional damage on that tower. Princess, of course, a card that if you leave it to its own device is just so annoying.
Notice that we haven't seen a two-cost spell from skills, so that will make some slight challenges when dealing with that Goblin Barrel in certain cases. But and so far we are seeing Adrian Piedra out to an early lead as we enter double elixir time.
And once again, he'll force to use that Tornado to just pull them back out of range. Of course, he's going to be sending, as you said, one more elixir, but no damage going through off that Goblin Barrel, so I like that adaptation from skills. He realizes he's not going to get that activation on the King Tower, but he can still defend it comfortably.
And the Ice Wizard in the back, skills letting that elixir build up, getting ready to make his move here in double elixir time.
Skills, though, I still feel like there's the part of the deck here that we're missing a little bit as well. Obviously, he has the Cannon Cart going in there with that Ice Wizard, but I still feel like there's more to this deck than we're waiting to see here. Valkyrie, of course, going to be cleaning up that Goblin Barrel there. It is that Prince Bait deck that we were used to seeing. We're seeing now a little bit more here coming in from Adrian Piedra, but I'm just curious. A little bit of elixir leakage from skills as well here. He's just not quite committing on either push here.
Well, he is waiting to get one more card down, playing defense so far as we go into sudden death overtime. Still, though, not that far back, very much in this match, and I think we're about to see something very fantastic coming out from his side of the board.
I'm really looking forward to it here because he really hasn't shown us how he's going to actually win this game. He's done a fairly good job of defending, but I really need to see that here from him. If you could slip a Cannon Card through, we've seen that have massive amounts of success, but no, once again, the response is going to be there from Adrian Piedra. Not, shirking for a second, they're looking to deal with that, but how is Skills going to execute this?
So we have the Prince and Rascals, pretty nasty combination for Adrian Piedra. Probably playing a role in a lot of Skills' decision-making process here as we are getting into our overtime.
But slowly and surely, Adrian Piedra is chipping away at this left-hand tower. The combo, as you said, is absolutely amazing because the Prince is allowing it to push this through. Watch that combo every single time. Beautifully done. Keeping the charge alive, too, which is awesome. A very nice job of cleaning up the back and that troop to support troops through that. But still, we are seeing the tower slowly falling, getting whittled away.
Yeah, the Prince behind the big Rascal boy, making room, kind of separating from those longer range, easier to kill Rascals. Really some nice play there. Wondering what Skills has in the tank. It might be a graveyard here at the end, but just hasn't had an opening to get it down quite yet.
Yeah, there's definitely a possibility here. Again, he's just sort of surviving. I think maybe this time, you talked about this earlier, at what point do you say, you know what, I'm going to commit to the OT? At what point do you make that decision? And I wonder if there's something that Skills is legitimately considering right now, just trying to look to draw and stall this out as long as humanly possible.
I don't know if he can here, though, because there are so many options coming from his opponent now at 7:10 with 1:30 left. Looking in real danger here, especially with Poison and Log in Adrian Piedra's deck.
And we're still seeing that chip damage with the Princess as well through all of this and not able to find that opening at all. Poison is not going to do enough here. The Cannon Cart going to be out of range of that tower as well, getting blown up. The Goblin Gang as well here, just getting these hits in. This is Adrian Piedra in full control.
I like the idea of Adrian forcing a right-hand response, but it's that Ice Wiz taking control and doing it from the opposite lane. So while there's danger on both sides here, with just 50 seconds left, you got to wonder if he can close things out here before we end regulation time.
It's interesting, because again, he opted to switch towers here, which, keeping that blood pressure, I like it, but also because he did that, that's a lot of damage that could have potentially killed that left Princess tower. Now with only 37 seconds left on the clock, it's possible that Skills might actually be able to draw this out.
And the Tornado pulling some of those troops, but gets the Royal Ghost loose. Now at 494, a second swing could have been all the difference. And now here we go, the left-hand side, the Poison, and that is Adrian Piedra getting it done. Woo! And the lane switch ended up paying off completely. Fantastic work from the 1v1 star for Complexity.
3 mind games happened there in the span of a few seconds. The Tornado was played pulling it into the mid, which means that Adrian, we'll get there actually, we'll get to there in a second. Overall, just really solid play from Adrian Piedra throughout the entire course of this game. The combo he was able to, but this is the play right in the back here, or one of them. The fact that he was able to get those through, The fact that he was able, he knows that the tornadoes have cooldowns, so there's not going to be the activation on that, which means he played the Goblin Barrel in a different position, which means that the Predict Valkyrie missed because he was constantly expecting to play it on the outside, but he predicted that, so he played it in the back, and that's what got the mind games on mind games.
You know, you're not worried about the tornado at that point that late in the game, so now he can free up and play in different spots. But for Skills, unbelievable defense in a very difficult matchup. He didn't have the small spell answer to a lot of that bait deck, and he couldn't get his win condition, which we think was probably Graveyard, down on the board. And a really stalwart performance, nearly taking the draw, and honestly, I would have called a draw a win there.
Go Adrian! You okay?
Adrian Piedra now 1 win away from securing a pretty commanding lead at the top of our rankings here in CRL North America.
This is going to be interesting game number 2 because Skills was in a position last game where he really couldn't look to win the game. He was just on defense, defense, defense. He was on try not to lose mode for most of that game. How do you shake off that mentality? And if you can, that's the mark of truly a professional player here, able to shake off a loss like that where you feel just completely outmatched in that situation, and now to try and turn it around. What is he going to bring to the table to deal with that? How is he going to shift up his mentality? That's my big question here for CLG.
Well, Skills is an experienced player. You know, he's an RPL North American champion. He's played in the King's Cup, one of the most high-profile tournaments in all of Clash Royale history. The guy knows what to do, so I don't think that last match is going to weigh too heavily on his mind.
And that, again, that's the mark of one of these professional players. I agree. Again, he's been in these competitive environments. He knows what's at stake here. He knows the situation, but nobody wants to go down in a place where you get fully swept. That is not the ideal at all. And once again, we are seeing the Rascal Prince combo coming out from Adrian. Will Skills have a better response this time around?
Separating that big Rascal from the little Rascals. The Prince gets on the tower. A lot of early damage here. Not even 2 minutes down. Adrian Piedra now with the right-hand tower down to 1233.
Pick your poison there in this situation. Whether, I mean, you had to deal with that Goblin Barrel, drop the Baby Dragon to deal with that, but then you didn't have an answer for the Prince, and that was a solid display there from Adrian, making Skills choose where he wanted to take that damage.
We haven't seen a ton of bait play in the first 2 weeks of Clash Royale League, but making some more appearances here since the most recent update. I'm wondering how much of a role Prince plays in that.
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, again, how this card fits into the meta because, of course, he's such a threat. He needs to be dealt with. So when we talk about the idea of bait and baiting these things out, Prince is obviously going to fit into a lot, or I think could fit into a lot of these different deck archetypes, especially around that because of the way we talk about enforcing a response on him. And again, we're seeing it here once again.
Well, you also mix in Valkyrie's attack speed being reduced. So you have Prince, who's now fitting great into these bait decks. Valkyrie no longer being quite as quick defending against these bait decks, and now we've seen this specific version show up a couple of times here in 1v1 matches.
But this is a really nice push now coming in from Skills. I mean, we're talking about how solid this deck is, but finally getting it together now with that Golem there. That was the push that Skills has been trying to put together all this time. But can Adrian fit it in here and look to try and get another Prince connection? He will not.
Well, now that we're in double elixir time, this is where Skills' deck can really begin to shine on the back of that Golem. And you see now, here comes the Golem drop. So the real question is, can Adrian take advantage of that moment? And yes, he does, down to 420, down to 405. That's going to be it. Oh my gosh, once again, Adrian Piedra taking advantage of the moment. The tornado does not do its job. And Complexity, 5-0. Who can beat these guys?
That is the question, Rich. Beautiful play from start to finish from Adrian Piedra. He seems to have shaken off those 1v1 jitters. I think those big ol' wins in King of the Hill came back right now. Let's watch this tornado again, because it actually just pulled the Royal Ghost out of aggro range of that Golem. And not only did it not activate the King Tower, it lost the game. You hate to see it.
Well, this was a really tough matchup for Skills, especially in those early moments, because he didn't have, there were two problems. The big one being that he didn't have the ground troops, the cheap ground troops, to pick up that Prince. So when he was trying to defend that Prince, you saw that first big push. He had a baby dragon down there, and I want to say it was a Mega Minion. Those aren't going to aggro the Prince.
Nope.
It got on the tower.
Nope.
And the one thing you want to do playing a heavy deck like that is prevent some of those damage that puts you in a place where you can't defend in double elixir time. Usually you're okay giving some away, but that was just a little bit too much.
Yeah, just giving too much up early there, putting him in a bad situation for the rest of the game, not able to do it in double elixir time with those golem pushes. The pressure being kept up with that log on cooldown, never allowing him to build up that solid golem push. I love it. The second that Adrian Pietra identified, what skills deck was going to be, how he needed to outplay it, he never let up. Keeping up that pressure was what allowed him to win, whether it be the Prince, whether it be the Rascals, whether it be the Goblin Barrel. Never a moment. We saw literally like 2 golems that entire game.
Well, that's the big issue with, a slight change in the balance updates. New decks get new power, and you wonder, like, how quickly can some of these pros respond? They haven't been expected. Bait hasn't been here.
No.
It simply hasn't. So not really expecting that, and then also not being entirely prepared for the Prince, and that changes everything. Adrian Pietra, I think, with some next-level deck selection, then that helps him secure the victory here for Complexity once again. And now, I guess we're going to keep on doing it because he keeps on showing up. Christy St. John standing by with Adrian Pietra.
Thanks, guys. Adrian, I talked to you at the beginning. You had to come back for another one. You are 5-0. Feeling good, am I right?
Yeah, well, we are 5-0, my team. They always help me a lot to prepare. Also, my friends from other regions are helping a lot, and well.
Absolutely. And talking about preparation, that Prince behind the Rascals, I have never seen that. Is that new since the... Tell me how you figured that out, how you practice with it.
Well, I used to play like 3 metas ago with that deck, and I have a lot of fun with it, so it was like, oh, maybe it works with Prince buff, so, well, I just take it.
God, I had fun with it too. And back to you guys.
Thanks, Christy. Another unbelievable performance. And, don't leave out Colton and Razor experiencing some adversity early on in 2v2, but then pulling it together and keeping that record intact.
What's the whole team? It's not just any one of these players. It's the whole infrastructure surrounding Complexity. The work they put in is what has secured them 5-0 undisputedly at the top of North America. At this point, it's the rest of the pack and Complexity.
And that's interesting here. There are 14 games for each team as they play each other twice over the course of the season. But at 5-0, we were expecting that at that bottom bubble spot, the fourth spot to make it to the playoffs, there could very well be a 7-7 team that makes it in. So right now, Complexity is in a point where if they get 3 more wins, they have probably secured a spot in the playoffs. And 3 seems like a small number for a team like this.
Yeah, that does indeed. But you know what, Rich, we're not quite done yet. We're not done today.
2 more teams showing up here. NRG versus Cloud9.
The Clash Royale League always leaves us wanting more. Thankfully, we've got more. Match 2 features the surging German Baron, C. McHugh, and a Cloud9 team climbing the standings. Across the river, NRG with Hazard and Guanek leading the charge. The time for battle is now!
I hope you guys caught your breath after that last match because we've got another one on fire coming at you right now. Cloud9 looking for a chance to secure that second place spot on the standings against NRG looking to climb their way up.
We now have, of course, Complexity 5-0, but the battle for second is raging right now. But I know for both of these teams, they don't want to be just in second place. They want to take it up even further. They want to bring themselves up there. They want to contend with the best. I know C9, they came in with high expectations this season. They're going to want to look to perform.
Cloud9 with one of the strongest rosters on paper here in CRL. An early stumble correcting the course, and they are so far now really showing why they are one of the teams to be feared up against NRG with some very talented young players.
I mean, we saw Carter and Hazard take the first game off of the Colton Razor freight train that is the 2v2 madness there. But over on the other side, C9, they've been really focusing on that 1v1 matchup, the King of the Hill. If you get them there, they are terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying. You have to run through so many talented players to make things happen. And part of King of the Hill strategy is setting those lineups. And the man here doing that is Eric, the coach for Cloud9, who is standing by with Christy St. John.
Thanks, guys. So Cloud9, you're amazing in the 1v1, but struggling a little bit to take home that win in the 2v2. How have you switched up your strategy to take it home today?
I think we've practiced a lot more with different combinations, and I think this is the one that's actually, it's been clicking. And 2v2 is more new, so it does take more time. We have a lot of top players that play a specific way, so meshing that together is a lot harder. But I think we got it.
This league specifically, it's very difficult. It's new figuring out. And right now, the standings are very, very close. You're 2-1 right now. Are you happy with that place in the standings?
I mean, I think we're never happy unless we're winning everything, but it comes with it. At the beginning, it was like our first loss. We got it out of the way, and we're going road to 13-1, hopefully.
Let's do it. All or nothing. Back to you guys.
That road starts right here in a couple of minutes, but there is a speed bump on the way in the form of NRG. But Eric, the coach of Cloud9, ever confident in his players.
I mean, he has a right to be. He has some of the biggest names in the region. I think, as you said, it's just getting them all to work together. You have so many specific play styles. Trying to mesh them all is super important. But you know, these guys have got to be putting in the work, putting in the practice, switching things up here for 2v2, which is, of course, going to be our first match.
That's coming up in just a couple of moments. And of course, they still need to choose their ban cards for those 2v2 and 1v1 sets. To learn more about what they're thinking, let's take a peek inside the war room.
All right, boys. Let's go. Okay, you got your water? Yeah. All right, boys. You guys all good?
Yeah.
I know they're our friends, but for the next hour, we hate them, and we got to beat them. And then we could be friends again if we beat them. Let's keep it classy. Don't BM, no bad karma. We got this. Be respectful. Be good winners. Be good losers. Not worried on that though. We got it, boys. Let's get it. Let's make it happen.
After the game or after we win?
We're probably just gonna win, so go celebrate.
I'm thinking of Cheesecake Factory.
You think Cheesecake Factory? I think Chick-fil-A is the best. I mean, it is the best.
You can never go wrong.
Of course, there's no comparison with Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we can't have it every day though. That's the problem.
Maybe we should just go Cheesecake
What's the problem?
Right, let's get that dope.
We got this.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
2-2.
Let's get some Chick-fil-A.
Communication, baby.
Yep.
We got this.
Let's win.
As the king of all things and the man on the microphone, I can do whatever I want. And right now, I want to see a 2v2 battle. NRG, Cloud9, do as I decree and enter the arena.
Oh, you guys better listen because we have a competition on their way. The duos taking their spot at the podiums. We have Trainer Chris and Wings for Cloud9 across from Hazard and Carter.
We saw that attempt at a handshake, guys. Don't try and deny it. Wings with Trainer Chris now not having any success here in 2v2. Looking to find the winning formula is Cloud9 across the board. Carter and Hazard, they have been doing it from the beginning. These guys are super comfortable in 2v2. This is going to be a tough road here for C9.
And the card bans here for this 2v2 set. Tornado, no surprise here, but Lava Hound, interesting, it's been coming into the ban cards here.
We've been seeing a lot of really solid Lava Hound play in the last little bit, so no surprise taking that out there, looking to bring things back down to the ground. We'll see if we see some changes up here as well. Maybe some golem play, maybe some giant skeleton occurred that's done very well in 2v2. A lot of different options with that off the board.
Cloud9 looking to go 3-1. NRG looking to even up their record here in CRL North America. And we are off. NRG at the top of your screen, Cloud9 at the bottom. Interesting notes here, Paul. You know, you mentioned it briefly, Cloud9 has yet to win a 2v2 set, but it seems like they know that Trainer Chris is the guy for 2v2. They're just trying to find that glue that will stick that team together.
Yeah, they've been rotating out his partner here in the various matches, trying to find, as I said, that winning combo here. And unfortunately, like, you know, they have so many individually talented players, but when you have all those big personalities, when you have all those really established individual play styles, sometimes, again, it's tough to put all of that together. But, you know, I think if there's any team that's going to look to do it here, it's going to be C9. A ton of infrastructure behind that squad. They've got a great, you know, I know their training regiments are pretty intense over that way, so we'll see if they can make it happen here with a little bit of bridge spam coming out from NRG.
Great timing from Cloud9 a moment ago. As soon as they saw the fireball going to the Magic Archer, they dropped the Royal Hog split at the bridge. Oof. And taking really the first big chunk out of towers here in this 2v2 set.
Tesla Tombstone, though, coming in for NRG. Heard you like charging into Princess Towers. We got a whole lot to get through right now as they are playing SimCity over here on the side of NRG. Looking to take it down with spells, though, is going to be C9.
A very nice fireball there, and the left-hand tower of NRG going down quickly. The Tesla coming in, we haven't seen that much here at CRL at all.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously received some changes sort of just before the start of the season, so not really seeing a whole lot of that. I love the instant response, though, once again with these Hogs, as we see that giant skeleton going down, out action and reaction from C9.
So as we approach double elixir time, it is Cloud9 in the lead, but NRG now with a lot of elixir crossing the bridge here. Can one of these cards make its way to the tower?
Giant Skeleton not going to be that card. However, the Miner is there. All the while, the P.E.K.K.A. has been tanking this Princess Tower. That was absolutely huge. MVP Miner coming in from NRG. That was a really nice play with the E-Wiz pushing the P.E.K.K.A. forward and allowing it to get in perfect position to tank up there for that beautifully played Miner.
And picking up the Battle Ram is the Valkyrie mixed with the E-Wiz. Good defense, but a beautiful fireball in the middle to get a ton of value on both the Magic Archer and that Electro Wizard.
Pushing the Electro Wizard back into the poison and taking out the Magic Archer at the same time. That was some sick play from NRG, but once again, the structures are down in the mid. Not a single hit from those Royal Hogs.
Wow.
Gonna make it to a... Wait, hold on.
Wow, Paul, look at that Magic Archer. It got damage on the tower at first, got distracted by the bats, but was still alive to stop that Royal Hog push, and again did a bit more damage, and now it's the Miner taking it down with 10 seconds left. Cloud9 needs to find a way to get to that left-hand side.
The big boy defense, though, coming out from NRG, dropping the Giant Skeleton and the P.E.K.K.A., but the Bats and Magic Archer are there all in the while. The back, the Miner is there, but it's not enough.
Just a little bit too late, and it is NRG's Carter and Hazard. Now, we've seen them do this kind of thing before, taking the first game off of that Colton Razor duo from Complexity. These guys, they do know how to play, and they are really starting to gel here in 2v2.
Really finding their stride right now in this format. Their communication is impeccable. But I have to say, that was still a very strong showing from C9 here. This might be the combo coming in now from them. Again, they've tried a whole bunch of different things, but Trainer Chris, if he's able to maybe take a little bit more of a leadership role here in this situation, kind of, again, usually be that glue, or be that base that the team is, the 2v2 being built around, that might be where C9 finds success.
It really seemed like Cloud9 had that in play, but again, that Magic Archer really did so much work there for NRG, put them in the spot to win, and here they go, game number 2.
Can C9 rally in the second game, or will NRG take it in 2 straight games, clearing out the set, taking 2v2 once again against Cloud9? Again, Cloud9, a team of all-stars, struggling a little bit in this new format.
Well, at 2-1, I don't think they're struggling too hard, but they have found
in
they found their bumps in 2v2 in particular.
2v2, yes.
Oh, in 2v2, absolutely. You know, again, it's some of the best 1v1 players in the world, but as we've said many times here before, the meta for 2v2 is being created pretty much in front of our very eyes.
It is slowly starting. It's turning from an amorphous blob into sort of more of something I guess you could define as a meta. Now we have seen a couple of of set decks kind of coming out, making an appearance, and Royal Giant, another card that's been finding a home here in 2v2.
The Royal Giant, also for those of you paying attention, it looks like it might be getting a little bit of extra help coming in October potentially. So keep an eye on that card. Getting some work done though here in this 2v2 matchup.
As we now are seeing a Miner coming in once again. A Miner, another card that has been doing so much here in 2v2, as there's so much going on the board here, able to slip that in the back as you see these big beatdown pushes coming up across the bridge. And we're seeing Miner becoming a staple in a lot of these decks. And with no Tornado, of course, being banned here for C9, there's no threat of having that King Tower activation with that as well, giving that Miner even more value.
Yeah, the Miner, though, still being played in the safety zone. So you got to wonder if NRG is going to start varying where they put that bad boy here as the game progresses towards double elixir time.
That's one of the real marks you see from a lot of these top pro players, is where they put a lot of these cards, whether it be the Goblin Barrel, whether it be the Miner, able to just get that in different positions. And, because there's going to be a lot of predictions coming in to try and deny that, whether it be Prediction Valkyrie or whatnot, or Mega Minion. And if you can, mix that up every single time, keep your opponent guessing. That's how you get 1 or 2 little hits. All it takes, we've seen it in these games, 1 or 2 little hits makes all the difference.
The Poison now will get the Tombstone off the board, but with so much DPS, so many damage dealers for NRG. The Golem barely going to get a little bit of Golemite death damage on that right-hand tower.
And E-Wiz all the while just slowly shutting down this Inferno Dragon, not allowing it to get that pivotal lock, trying to get the Royal Giant in range once again. One hit is going to go through there, and I love this. We are seeing now the tower slowly chipping away now for C9 NRG, never losing focus in this game.
And with just 20 seconds left in regulation, it is NRG out to the lead. Although you think that this, with the double elixir, might be the moment in which the Golem starts to do more and more work. But so far, Hazard and Carter have had the answers, looking to close out the 2v2 set and take it to 1v1.
Well, when you're giving the Golem a ride on the back of your pony with that Prince, it's a great way to get it forward. And now we are seeing the push of C9 really starting to get together now as the Golemites are going to get here onto the tower. This is huge. A nice return salvo there, but the Miner once again from NRG keeping up the pressure in the back.
But look at what happened there
the Royal
with the Flying
Giant.
Machine. Royal Giant still up, the push spell cycle, and there you go. NRG's Hazard and Carter taking it for their squad, sending it to 1v1. And I really want to go back. Hopefully the replay booth can find that one. In those last moments, it was the Flying Machine. Here we go. It takes out that tombstone for that sniper distance, opening it up for the Royal Giant, getting the hits on it. At that point, there is no coming back from that. Beautiful play. You know, the unheralded Flying Machine. If the Miner was the MVP, then you have to say the Flying Machine was a Scottie Pippen, for a very outdated reference.
Oh, yeah. It was totally that.
His Kevin Durant.
Yes. I at least know what sport that one was. NRG takes the win here in our 2v2 once again. Cloud9 not quite being able to find it there. Beautiful communication coming in from NRG, channeling their energy here in this very first game. Going to look to carry the momentum into the 1v1. However, of course, 1v1 against C9. That's quite a daunting prospect.
Oh yes, Cloud9 has some terribly frightening players, but don't count out what NRG has in store as well. One of the 1v1 standouts here in Guanic, going up against a pretty nasty German in Baron.
This is going to be one heck of a matchup. It's once again on the shoulders of Baron to take the team into King of the Hill. And speaking of kings, King, let's get this going.
My sundial says it is time for the 1v1 showdown, when top players eye their opponent across the bridge and refuse to blink. Who will win this epic stare down? The German all-star Baron or the Italian stallion Guanic? 1v1 begins now.
Someone get the king a wristwatch, because this game takes place in the digital age. Right now we have 1v1. It is Baron facing off against Guanic.
Baron coming in once again for Cloud9 to do work in the 1v1. This second and fifth place at CCGS EU, another CCGS World finalist. This guy is a monster, but going up against Guanic, number one on the world ladder 3 times.
One of the great players here, Guanic, and of course Baron, just coming off closing out King of the Hill for his squad in a very close matchup. And here we have our ban cards. The Royal Hogs, no surprise, Nightwitch being taken off the board.
Nightwitch, of course, commonly seen with these traditional big old beatdown decks, so maybe going to be looking to take that off the field right now. Royal Hogs, again, no surprise. People are like, oh, they received a little bit of nerf in the last update, but also Valkyrie got nerfed, so they're probably still pretty good, guys. Yeah, they're banned.
2 fantastic 1v1 players going to go head-to-head for the future of both their squads. And here we go, NRG's Guanic at the top of your screen, Baron at the bottom for Cloud9. Now with Night Witch out, you can still run a Golem deck with a regular Witch, just not quite as cohesive as you might think.
I like how she's been demoted to regular Witch. I like how that's how we don't have to. There you go.
So old school Witch.
Old school Witch. There we are. But the guards coming in once again. Card we've been seeing quite a bit of 2v2, but a little bit of 1v1 as well. Once again, of course, the Lava Hound coming in now. So. And we did see some interesting balloon bans of past as well, but now we are seeing, just the Lava Hound coming down with... Oh, okay, there's nothing on the ground to stop the cannon cart.
Nothing to stop the cannon cart, but also the cannon cart now distracting for the graveyard. That's going to be a very quick tower for Guanic. We are barely 45 seconds in, and Guanic already putting a stamp on this first game.
Well, that's one way to start a game here, as we do have the push in return now for Baron, but it doesn't get much better than that. It is going to be Lava Loon coming out from him, but still, that was the opening to end all openings. That was one way to start this game right now, and a solid hold coming in as well from Gwanek.
The balloon doesn't quite get a drop, but Inferno Dragon targets on the right-hand side. Tower for tower. We have a live game here, folks.
All right, well, I might have spoken slightly too soon on that solid hold right there as the Inferno Dragon does connect through onto the Princess Tower. So both, there was a huge, I don't want to say overcommittal, but it ended up being an overcommittal from Gwanek on that initial opening, getting punished for it in return from Baron. So they do trade out towers right here. Solid heads-up decision-making from Baron to realize, look, I can get this tower. I just need to stay composed.
And here we go. Gwanek going for the 3-crown push, because as we get to double elixir time, Baron with the Lava Loon will have the advantage. So it might be here Gwanek trying to close this thing out quickly and not give Baron the chance to take those moments here in the final minute.
I love that decision-making here as well. The cannon cart just chunking away at the King Tower, but a lot of HP in the air on the left-hand side right now for Baron. How does Gwanek respond to this right now? The defensive poison is there, but look at how much damage is going to get on through Rich.
Gwanek, he might end up losing this left-hand tower. He has to keep pressure on the King Tower, force Baron to make decisions on the fly.
Really just keeping the pressure up right now is going to be the key to victory, because Gwanek does not have a whole lot of good answers for that Lava Loon. This is going to be very difficult for him. Gwanek needs to try and sneak through, get another one of those cannon carts, find the opening, try and get the 3-crown, because if we see another Lava Loon in the air, that's pretty much going to be it. Or we can see the Graveyard.
The Graveyard, but we do have the guards getting down and the Tombstone, but the Tombstone looking the wrong direction here, and now it might be a 3-crown coming down to 583. Now with just 20 seconds left here, really, who's going to take it? Will it be that King Tower going down, or just 731 remaining on the left-hand side for Gwanek?
That was a huge zap, cleaning up those key skeletons in the back right now, but 583 HP, another Graveyard coming down. Can the Lava Hound get through, or will the skeletons in the back be enough? Trying to get it down into that poison range. A few more hits. Is that going to be it?
Down to 86. One more tick. The balloon making a race, but it's the log, and it's a 3-crown for Gwanek in the first game of 1v1. And now it's Cloud9 on their back foot here. Baron needing to fight for the life of his team.
Watch this opening coming in right now, and you just see the Inferno Dragon's going to clean up the cannon cart, distracting the Lava Hound, but all the while that Graveyard was left completely unattended, absolutely shredding the tower. But speaking of shredding towers, that's the Inferno Dragon's job.
The Inferno Dragon doing a good job on both the Princess Tower and the King Tower, but here it was, the Graveyard. And again, the aggressive play by Gwanek. You're there, you know that the double elixir time gives the advantage to Lava Loon just because it can load you up so heavily, but Gwanek plays great defense, just enough to slide in that hit and takes game number 1.
I love the fact that he just kept up the aggression. He realized that he was on a timer. There was a clock. There was his name on. And he's like, I got to win by X time. I need to keep up this pressure. The Graveyards came down. They never stopped. He took the win.
Can Gwanek close it out, or will Baron save it for Cloud9?
Well, Rich, we're going to find out here in game number 2. This is where C9 has been known to shine, going off clutch in these 1v1 matchups, taking them on to King of the Hill, where they feel a lot. I think it's safe to say they feel a lot more comfortable there in that overall game type. Of course, 1v1 has been the bread and butter of traditional competitive Clash Royale from day one. Now adding in the 2v2, something they're just a little bit slower to adapt to.
But don't forget, Gwanek, the Italian, is a 3-time world #1 on the ladder. So this is a guy who's unflappable. He now has 2 chances, 2 games to close this thing out for NRG. He's got to be feeling pretty good at this moment.
Well, and he's put in the work, too. I mean, that takes a lot of games. That is a lot of hours spent grinding, putting in the work. So he knows exactly what it takes to be a champion here. But this is a very strong push coming in now from Baron. Going to need to respond to that in good, in due kind here is Gwanek. The Mega Knight's going to try to, but still a decent amount of damage slipping on through.
And the Prince, as the Mega Knight's distracted, taking it down all the way. So nice work there. A small tower advantage, but now the Miner gets through. Oh, but there's the Hunter with that big close-range kaboom taking it away.
The blunderbuss ripping it right on through there. The Miner not able to get those hits onto the tower. I want to call that a perfect defense from Baron.
And picking up the Miner is the Inferno Dragon, but the damage is done. The left-hand tower for Gwanek now down to 1278, but he has been here before. Do not count him out.
Halfway through regulation time, and not one single tick of HP being taken by Baron so far in this game. It doesn't get any more perfect than that. Guanek is going to need to look to change things up just a little bit here, but he knows the Giant Prince combo, pushing that on through, is going to be a threat. So instead, he's not going to wait for that to come to him. He is going to start to mount the aggression.
An interesting note here, it's the Electro Wiz getting in between the Prince and that Mega Knight, but it will not be enough because boom, again, that short range shot, and that's where the Hunter excels.
This is some of the best Hunter play I think we've seen yet in CRL. Baron making that card look amazing right now, getting hits onto that tower as well once again, slowly slipping on through that damage. That is exactly how you want to play that out. Picture perfect, frame, tile, perfect positioning from Baron. All the perfects.
All the perfects indeed. And again, it's the Inferno Dragon getting stopped right there at the river, but an opposite lane push with the Mega Knight and a beautiful kite from that Giant. Looks like Baron has this thing under control.
Oh, and he even waited to play it too. He linked a little bit of Elixir trying to wait to put down that Mega Knight, and then on the right-hand side, the Prince is going to connect as well. That is deadly if left unattended. Oh no, that was huge. He tried to hold it off, tried to wait to not get that Mega Knight to leash, but it did anyway, pulling it on through. That was disastrous for Guanek.
And putting the Hunter behind again, continuing to pick up that miner. And right now, Baron is very, very close to getting a flawless victory here in this second game of 1v1.
Yeah, this is absolutely insane. We've never seen anything like this in the CRL. Again, not taking a single point of damage yet on any one of his towers. That's finally going to change right now, not predicting the correct miner location. So he is finally going to take some damage here, but still, we are in overtime when the first point of damage is being done. That's just GG. Baron, what a beast.
What an unbelievable play by Baron. You know, I think he looked at this and realized that he had answers to everything Guanek wanted to do offensively. And, you know, the Giant getting picked up by the Inferno Dragon, but still there were so many options he had to do damage, sneaking the miner in, getting the Prince across the river, and it really was a fantastic performance. Baron, after getting kind of surprised by Guanek in those opening moments of the first game, coming back and locking all the doors.
Oh, yeah. I think you said it perfectly, Rich. Had every single answer. Every single time that Guanek tried to make a play, there was a response. Every single time he tried to mount a push, there was a response. Every single time he tried to cross the river, there was a kite to bring him across, not where he wanted to be. Again, perfect play from Baron.
Game number 3 on its way right now. And Baron and Guanek both giving a little bit of thumbs up, well played. You know, Baron, not the first time he's played that Giant Prince miner deck. We saw him do it in King of the Hill and get a victory there as well.
I mean, just going to show that, you know, he's able to push the meta right now, find a way to work these newly augmented cards into the works right now. But still, there's always, you know, time for a tried and true, and that's got to be the Hog Rider. Of course, you know, interesting bans coming in there as well. We do have the Night Witch going to be denied. Got to keep in mind that might play a factor here, as well as those Royal Hogs. So not going to be seeing any Royal Hogs in this set.
So it looks like Baron going back now to that Giant Prince miner deck. Again, we've seen him now get 2 wins with it so far here at CRL. Can he get a third and send us to King of the Hill, or will Guanek ride the back of that hog all the way to an NRG victory?
Well, starting off well is Baron here in game number 3, putting all your hopes in the Hog Rider basket. I mean, Baron's going to have a lot of different answers to deal with that right now. He was able to get the Giant on through to secure that a few hits on the tower. So I think this might be a good spot once again for Baron, because we just saw how comfortable he is playing this deck. He knows exactly how to respond. Obviously a little more faster, aggressive deck from Guanek this time around, so maybe he can find an opening.
And the Tombstone on the board that will provide some help here for the Giant and the Prince, but will it be enough as we move along? The Hog Rider now coming through again. The Prince, though, going to get at least a couple hits on there. Will the Hog Rider get a second? No, just the first.
The Hunter once again being pulled out here from Baron to beautiful effect. The Miner there in the back as well. Look at this left-hand push Rich doing work here. Guanek is just getting chunked.
Well, that Ice Golem's going to be part of the answer, I think, to that Prince, hopefully to kite it the opposite direction when he can. And right now, as we enter double Elixir time, Baron does have Guanek against the ropes, but he also has more damage across the board on one tower and the other.
That's true. I mean, Guanek, again, if he can find it here, able to get some decent split push up with this Hog. But again, every single time there's going to be an answer, whether it be the Prince, whether it be the Hunter, whether it be the guards, Baron is going to be able to shut this down. I mean, 2 hits were able to get through, which is solid. But watch what happens now. The Miner's going to come on through every single time. Again, pick your poison.
The guards and the Hunter trying to chip that right-hand tower down. And now Guanek in serious trouble here on the left-hand side. I think that we're getting to a point now where Baron kind of has control of this match. Again, like you said before, he had so many answers for what Guanic wanted to do offensively, and Guanic just not having quite enough all across the board to take care of these things.
We are going to see the Tombstone coming in to distract the Giant, but the Poison here as well. All it's going to take is a couple swings from him to spell GG. That is going to be it. I don't think there is a chance here for Guanic to come back. Baron, the German beast, going to be taking it to King of the Hill.
Unbelievable, the reverse sweep from Baron. It's a guy you can never count out. He has shown it time and time again. Guanic, a very talented player, but just ran into some bad matchups and some better play on the part of Baron.
I mean, you can't start off a game better than Guanic did in that game number 1. He came in with an undeniable push, destroyed that first Princess Tower. Really solid textbook play from Baron.
The Hunter kind of MVP here in this case. Yes, the Miner getting the damage on that tower, but it was both the defensive and offensive play from the Hunter in both the second and third game here of 1v1. It
was really just the way he was able to play it out at the river, not only shut down the flying machines or shut down the miners in the back as well, just beautifully executed there overall in that game. The Hunter, actually a pivotal part of that deck, a card that we haven't really seen have a ton of success in overall in 1v1, but executed there beautifully. But again, we're not done yet. That was just Baron taking us to King of the Hill. NRG needs to win 3 more games, or C9 needs to keep their streak alive.
And they're going to set their lineups and card bans right now inside the War Room.
All right, guys. It's King of the Hill once again. We don't want to be in this position, but we're confident in it. So we're going to go with our usual lineup. We're going Semiju. Then we're going Wings. And Baron to clutch it up if needed. We know the Royal Hogs are banned, not dealing with that. And then they banned Mega Minion. Takes out a lot of decks, both in for our favor and against us, but we prepared for everything. We know substitutes, whatever we need. And everyone fears us in King of the Hill. Use it to our advantage. We're confident. Everyone knows you could win your 1v1s. 2v2's done, 1v1's done. Nothing matters except this. Let's go out there and crush it like we always do. And let's go, boys. I have confidence in every single one of you.
It's the first time here doing COD, so we're going to start with Guanic.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby.
Second, Carter is going to follow.
Let's go, Carter.
You don't need me. And third, if we need this, Hazard.
I don't even expect to play,
We'll finish it off.
I think we got this.
All right?
Yeah.
Energy on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Energy!
Cloud9 and NRG have pushed this match as far as it can go. They have dropped towers and had their towers dropped. They have pushed and counter-pushed. Basically, I'm saying they're tied. Now, King of the Hill will settle it.
Once again, Cloud9 finding themselves in King of the Hill up against a surging young team looking to take them off the top of the mountain.
But it is going to certainly be a mountain to climb going up against C9. All 3 of these players are absolute monsters, and starting off with C McHugh, well, that's a good way to do it. Guanic, though, we know this guy's a powerhouse in 1v1. If there's anybody who's going to do it, it's going to be him.
And our card bans for this round of King of the Hill, Royal Hogs and Mega Minion making an appearance.
Mega Minion, interesting card being banned here. Obviously, it's a staple in a lot of decks, like the big Golem Beatdown decks. We've seen it in a lot of graveyard decks. Taking it off the board right now, maybe just saying, look, we're going to shift the meta a little bit here. We're going to make things a little bit more interesting. I don't mind that ban at all.
Of course, it could also be a juke ban as well, make them think, hey, maybe they're trying to go somewhat small and then going big back in response. So who knows? Again, that's part of that planning that goes into the war rooms.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of these players go for, like, these crazy mind games. Look, I'm going to take you totally one direction and then totally bait you. Deck selection, of course, being a massive part of this. But you know what, Rich? Enough talk. Let's get into the game.
NRG's Guanic leading off at the top of your screen. C McHugh making his next King of the Hill appearance. Can he be the nasty one here again and take out so many players as we've seen him do time and time before?
Well, the Princess that he's starting off with is going to get cleaned up by the Poison. The Rascals as well coming in going to be dealing with that ban. Oh, interesting play coming in though as well, because we've already seen some.
Looks like CMQ might be playing that bait with the Prince deck we've seen a couple of times before. So I'm guessing that CMQ has that Prince somewhere in there.
I would not be surprised to see it, but what a way to start this game so far. Look at the damage already being done to that tower. Of course, the Royal Ghost not going to be stopping a lot of these bats, and we are going to see a pump. It's barely just up there on the top right-hand side of your screen, going to be getting chunked down by that poison there as well. So Guanek with that pump there in the back, potentially seeing the goal there. There it is.
There we go. When you have the Night Witch and the pump, Golem probably coming next. And Guanek seemingly content with giving that tower up on the left-hand side because he knows that when we get the double elixir time, he will have the advantage.
So he's just going to let that go, and there's the Prince. He absolutely called it, so we're seeing this bait deck variation coming in there now here as well. Now watch how fast this Prince is going to start to rip through this Golem with the poison there in the back. It's going to go down pretty quick, but it's still making it to the tower.
And you might also see, would the Lumberjack go down? And yes, it does, to beef up those Golemites. And so now it's Guanek's turn to do some damage in the right lane.
I like this play from Guanek right now. Again, traditionally this deck is really going to start to kick off when we hit that DE time, but already getting a lot of that initial infrastructure damage here in the early game in this initial opening round of the regulation play, of course. That's just going to only help him even more stack this up, put him in a better position, and he's still holding on a little bit to the left tower here. He's not totally giving it up quite yet.
1 minute left. Now, again, we have seen this exact deck before. We've seen that it can surprise you, even against decks where you think it might have a disadvantage in double elixir time.
So we'll now see, of course, that we've reached this late point in the game. He needs to hold on and push this on through right now, as we are seeing the Golem pushing through on this right bridge, trying to get over, trying to make it happen, but this is difficult right now because the defense from CMQ is solid.
And with just 25 seconds left, will we get that right-hand tower down on behalf of Guanek and NRG? He needs to make it happen. I don't think we have enough time. It's CMQ playing the new meta here and really showing off how it can be worked to your advantage, even in a situation where you think it might not have it.
Prince Bait making it look easy right now. Only 5 seconds remaining. I think this is going to be it. There is no way that Guanek is going to make it through. CMQ taking game number 1.
Game number 1 down. Fantastic performance from CMQ as he continues to be so unflappable here in King of the Hill.
I mean, this is the way you start the match, doing that much initial damage. That's really tough to come back from Guanek.
You see the Rascals picking up some of the aggro there, clearing the way for the Goblin Barrels. CMQ clearing the way right now for Cloud9. The guys, though, they are so focused. There's no celebration until the final game is won.
Yeah, a little the energy. I mean, I want to call it ice cold coming out now from C9. Carter is up next. I mean, CMQ is probably thinking he's next up on the chopping block, but Carter's going to look to turn that around.
Carter is, of course, a very talented player. You've seen him here in 2v2, ready to show off his skills in 1v1 that we saw at the Combine. And one more time, Carter at the top of your screen representing NRG, Cloud9, CMQ at the bottom, and of course your card bands, Royal Hogs and Mega Minion.
Mega Minion, again, a staple in a lot of these decks, going to be taken off the table here. The most used card in 2v2 now, not going to make an appearance here in the 1v1. Tombstone and Flying Machine coming out. Interesting opening here from CMQ. Royal Ghost, a card we've been seeing a lot of in return here from Carter. The Rascals making another appearance, so potentially throwing his own deck right back at him.
And we have seen this happen so many times here. This deck has become infinitely popular almost immediately. And yes, we are seeing the Rascal Prince bait deck.
This is a fun one here because, again, it's another one of the situations where you just got to deal with this at some point. And look at all the pressure that Carter is putting on right now. Really solid overall defense, though, from CMQ. That Tombstone placement was absolutely perfect, able to shut all of that down. What a solid hold from him.
It'll be interesting to see how CMQ makes use of the Zappies in this deck, because some people say that the changes since the update have really hurt the card a lot, but in response, some of the developers have said that now the Zappies are faster as a response card, so rather than playing them behind the king, maybe we'll see the Zappies coming down to stop something in its tracks.
Well, those mini stuns obviously so useful at shutting down these big sustained pushes. Cards, of course, also like the Inferno Dragon that we've seen come out here. I mean, a really good response is going to be that Royal Ghost to help clean those up, but still, overall, I feel like this card definitely has a place in the meta.
Magic Archer, again, cleaning up that Royal Ghost. and the Prince coming across, trying to tank, doing a good job. Now we're going to see that Goblin Barrel get on the back. And there we have it, some nice damage on the right-hand side, down to 1830 is the tower of CMQ.
Suboptimal response there, not having the log to roll on through and clean that up. Great positioning on the Prince as well there from Carter to stop that Magic Archer from shredding on through to his Princess in the back. We are now seeing the Expo being dropped, though, for CMQ. The Royal Ghost trying to tank for this, needs to keep troops up on the board right now is Carter to try and keep this Expo distracted.
Let me tell you, who's excited to see Expo right now?
You!
It's this guy right here, and it does get the target on the tower, working their way through the troops, and that thing, if left alone, will just chunk away very, very quickly. And now down to under 600, under 500 hit points is Carter's left-hand tower.
Beautiful play there from CMQ to keep up this pressure. Almost accidentally activating the King Tower with the Magic Archer, but just playing it perfectly there as well. Putting so much defense, trying to keep this Expo alive, but trying to force his way through is Carter, but the Expo lives. The pressure, it keeps going.
The Expo seeing a slight drop in usage after a significant change was made, and the Goblin Barrel not going to pick that up. Just a couple ticks away, and there you go, CMQ, showing that the Expo is still alive. As I was saying, after the Tesla got a slight nerf in its abilities, the Expo Tesla was such a popular combination. We saw that cycle deck over and over and over again. But here, CMQ kind of pulling a little of a fast one over Carter, throwing the Expo deck in and taking advantage of the opening. There we go. That is it. And CMQ is one win away from doing it again. Can he sweep all three players from NRG?
I mean, there's a reason they put this guy up first, but Cloud9 has so many individually talented players. You could conceivably put anyone in that spot. Middle, closer, it doesn't matter. Any single one of these players can be in that position and go off and potentially sweep all three players, but it's not over yet.
It is not over yet at all, and a guy who is very capable of showing up in the clutch, it's Hazard. An interesting note here on Hazard, two big things. First of all, this is his first appearance in a head-to-head game here at CRL. He's been in 2v2s so far, but he is exceptionally capable of performing. But also, this is a guy who really likes to play from a lead.
Yeah, he likes to get an early lead and just keep up the pressure, keep the control. I mean, he's a student of the game here. This is definitely somebody who's going to spend a lot of time researching decks, researching his opponents, making sure that he's put himself in a good position going into these matchups. But sometimes it says he can get a little bit over-aggressive, play on, get a little bit antsy there sometimes in these long, drawn-out games. We'll see if that is going to be a factor here or not, or whether he can stay composed up against CMQ.
CMQ potentially showing Lava Loon. Hazard maybe on a graveyard deck here. An interesting note that a big part of both those decks is the Mega Minion ban, but both guys going, no, there are other ways to play these decks.
Ooh, taking down that Tombstone in the middle, but the Balloon is not going to make it through. It is going to be Lava Loon now for CMQ. But the hold from Hazard still taking quite a lot of damage on that right-hand tower, not able to respond to that Lava Hound fast enough, slowly working its way down, and that was just the opening push.
I spoke too soon there. It's Golem instead. Fantastic choice as well, and this will be interesting. Golem versus Lava Loon here as we have just a minute and a half left in regulation time.
Gong going to be marching out now for Hazard, of course. We are going to see the Tombstone up here for CMQ. The Flying Machine, perfect position there to take that down, keep the Golem on track. I like this play, but of course, you have the answer in that Inferno Dragon. It shreds through these tanks like it's nobody's business. Once it gets to that third tick of damage, watch how fast that thing goes down.
But the Golem still getting to tower, doing some damage. We got death damage and Golemites here doing work as well. As we enter double elixir time, a slight lead here for Hazard from NRG.
Slight lead, but again, both these players just trading blows, taking damage on both of these towers. It always makes me so sad to watch these Inferno Dragons try to clean up these Tombstones because they just go oh so slow. Not the best card to deal with that at all. But we are once again going to see the push coming out from CMQ. Both these players just looking to trade once again.
And really interesting Tombstone play from Hazard. He put it outside of the range of the Inferno Dragon directly, but the Skeleton gets its aggro, and that's a really great way to play it because you don't wipe the Tombstone off first and then get those zapped out of the way. Really great work here from CMQ. From Hazard.
I call it Hansel and Gretel. They're just following the trail of skeletons all the way home. Speaking of skeletons, a nice Tombstone there to redirect that balloon as well as the golem there in the back. The Tombstone being such a critical part of the defense from both of these players, but once again, the Lava Hound is here from CMQ, able to keep more troops alive throughout the course of this push. Hazard needs to look to shut this down right now, because look at the push coming in from CMQ.
But the Poison and the Baby Dragon will clean up most of that. The question now is, does he have an answer for the balloon? And yes, the Tombstone is in cycle. So Hazard here really in control of how these cards are interacting. Now he is behind on the scorecards right now. He could be in trouble as we go into sudden death overtime. But right now, got to be feeling good about the way he's playing defense.
Yeah, he's definitely holding on strong right now up against CMQ, but we now see the Prince coming out the final card, going to look to push this Golem forward as well. I love this. The Flying Machine, every single time that Tombstone is going down in the mid, it is there to clean it up. This is absolutely crucial, trying to force it through that was Hazard, but look at the response. We are still going to have that Lava Hound on the back. He needs to deal with that. The minions are going to be so slow about it, but watch the tower going down.
That is going to be it. The Golemites, will they take it down?
They
One
will.
more pop, and that is it. Hazard coming through in the clutch. The closer for NRG standing strong against the giant CMQ.
I love this. He identified, look, I have enough to make this happen. I know if my Golem gets there, I'm going to be able to do it. Feeling confident that he could trade that out. Beautifully done there from them. It came down with the final push at the end with the Poison, with the Golemites, with that splash damage. Perfect.
Very well played by Hazard. He had a lot of the answers in his hand for that Lava Loon deck, but still playing it to perfection is so important. But as I've said before, I'll say it again, with some of these teams, it's out of the frying pan and into the fire. And up next for Hazard is the 17-year-old from West Creek, New Jersey, Wings.
17-year-old from West Creek, New Jersey, going up against a 17-year-old from Providence, Rhode Island. A couple of young guns up here looking to prove it for both of their squads. This is going to be a sick matchup. Can Hazard do it again?
And a reminder, Hazard is the closer for NRG, so he is the last life as Mario's trying to save the princess. Up across from him, he has to go through Wings and Baron, but right now it's the #1 ladder finisher and #4 at CCGS North America, Wings in front of him.
Wings, of course, going to be instantly cleaning up that miner coming out there from Hazard. I like it. Wings going to cycle off that initial zap, and not really taking the bait there was Hazard. He waited a second just to make sure there's no initial immediate follow-up, and then he threw out the miner. So just kind of split seconds like, okay, hang on, I see you. And I like those kind of plays that are coming in from them as the Bandits are going to trade here with, of course, the tower in the back there from Hazard going to be going in a little bit more. Looks like bridge spam coming out for Wings here as well with the Ram coming down, but a great answer to that is going to be that E-Wiz.
Hazard so far playing very patient. He has commented on the fact on how he can get over aggressive occasionally, but here in this big place, in this big spot, playing. I mean, maybe I spoke a little too soon there. The miner coming on the inside, getting caught by the zappies, but still doing some damage.
Taking a bit of a gamble there that the Tornado wasn't going to come out and punish him for that. Of course, Tornado not being run with this P.E.K.K.A E-Wiz bridge spam deck with the Bandit in there as well. So that was definitely a bit of a play. There could have been an uh-oh moment coming in there as well from him, as both teams are going to be marching the big old P.E.K.K.A.s down the lane. Let's see what she can do here. Going to be a slightly favorable matchup here for Hazard in range of that tower, but the Dark Goblin might change that up.
Now, we haven't seen the last two cards for Hazard yet, but with Miner and P.E.K.K.A, he might be running Miner P.E.K.K.A Poison. We have not seen his big spell or a small spell yet, so we'll see if that Poison does come out. And doing a good job of varying the Miner location is Hazard for NRG.
Really good play coming in now from him. The Battling Ram going to be taken down. I always call it the Battling Ram, the Battle Ram there, because it's going to be going battling against your foes, trying to hit up against those Princess Towers. But we do see a potential little misplay there coming out. The Zap not getting optimal value. Now it's going to find out there. That was a little bit of slight BM coming in there from Hazard.
The real question here, Paul, is does Wings have any direct damage? With these decks being so similar, if he doesn't have any direct damage, it's going to be nice, a good chance for Hazard to keep sneaking in behind with that miner.
That's really his win condition here, is he has to make sure that every time that miner goes down the line, it is getting that damage in, and we're going to see it right now. It's actually going to go after the E-Wiz here as well. It's a really interesting play there to try and just keep his P.E.K.K.A alive a little bit longer, but now look at the push coming in from Wings.
I think it was less about the P.E.K.K.A and more about stopping that push overall, because he saw so much damage behind the P.E.K.K.A, wanted to get it out of the way, And here we are entering into sudden death overtime. The players pretty much neck and neck. Hazard fighting for his team's life.
And of course, now, as we get into overtime, it's a little bit early to say, but there is no, we just go straight to tiebreaker rules here. There are no draws. The lowest tower HP will take it here, as we do see another solid push coming in from Wings. The Bandit connects on the left-hand side. The P.E.K.K.A connects on the right. That is going to be it. Wings takes it. C9 with the win.
Wow, it really seemed as though Hazard had a lot of that with the miner in his hand. But it's a couple different slips. You saw the oops being dropped by Hazard a couple times, and that P.E.K.K.A just sneaks through with just enough health to get 2 big swings, and that is it. This seems to keep on happening with Cloud9. Just when you think that they're going to fall down, just when they're on the brink of destruction, they claw back, and that's the mark of what kind of professionals these guys are.
When they really figure out 2v2, this is going to be one of the scariest teams in North America. When they get that unlocked, they are going to be absolutely terrifying. Because when it comes to those 1v1s, they are looking pretty much unstoppable. NRG, though, putting up a great fight, taking it all the way into the king of the hill.
Really unbelievable play by Wings. You thought he maybe had the matchup disadvantage with the miner across the direct damage, but he takes the moment, and you gotta feel gutted for Hazard, who played so well, but the couple of oops, he made just a couple tiny mistakes.
And they compounded, though. That's the thing. They just kept building up and then finding those openings. Pressure on both sides. Really, overall, just solid play from Wings. We can talk about the pressure of being up here on this stage. Yeah, it's solid, but when you have the whole team behind you, on your back, cheering you on, that can really empower a lot of players, but also sometimes it's a lot of pressure, and sometimes it's a little bit too much to handle. And again, up against somebody like Wings, it's a tough situation. Overall, great play from NRG. C9 just too strong today.
Well, you can't take it away from him either that Hazard did go through 2 of the best players before.
Oh, yeah.
Facing a third one of the best players in the world. But in the end, flying high above the clouds on the back of Wings is the entire Cloud9 team. But don't forget that King of the Hill run was started off by 2 victories by CMQ, who is now 8-3 overall in our final set, and he is standing by with Christy St. John.
Thanks, guys. CMQ, a.k.a. Semichu, a.k.a. King of the Hill. It seems like you are unstoppable in that arena. How'd that feel up there today?
I mean, it felt pretty good. First deck was actually prepared by my teammates. I knew exactly what I was going to play going into it. The second deck, gotta love the Expo. You gotta show it some love. Ended up working out, and then we had Wings clutch it up.
You gotta love the Expo. I love the Expo. I'm an Expo player. Tell me, I think it's so great. You obviously use it so well. Why don't we see a lot of the Expo in this meta?
Well, recently the cannon cart obviously has been dominant over the meta. It just got nerfed though, so we may be seeing it a bit more, but it's still not that strong.
I hope to see it a bit more, and I will definitely be seeing a lot more of you because you are killing it on the CRL stage. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Christy. Sure, of course, the Expo not that strong, but as CMQ just proved, it's not the deck, it's the player.
Oh, triggering Rich, so much there with that Expo comment. You guys don't even know. It's totally fine, totally fine. We'll see more Siege in the future, man. I'm totally sure.
And maybe they'll help people climb their way up the ladder. It's Cloud9 now taking a commanding hold on that second place.
I was going to say, speaking of climbing up the ladder here, climbing up the rankings is C9 right now, taking that second place spot. NRG, unfortunately, 1-3 to start this off, but the season is still young. Still so many more amazing games to be played here in the North American region. We're just getting started.
And of course, you can follow all the action by hitting subscribe on the Clash Royale Esports page, going to esports.clashroyale.com, and of course going into your app to the Clash Royale Esports tab. And we've got some big stuff brewing here. Complexity at the top, Cloud9 at the top, a battle of the Titans coming to you sometime soon. And we'll be back this Saturday here with more North American action. For Paul and Verum Toddkill, I'm Rich Slayton. We will see you soon.
The Clash Royale League never ceases to amaze, and I am not easily amazed. The inventive decks, the complex strategy, the most professional of players. I mean, it truly is incredible. Oh, and epic, of course. Always epic. The Queen always wants to make sure I say epic. Top teams are beginning to distinguish themselves in the standings, but still, we have a long road to go. Weeks and weeks of CRL action still lie ahead as the best of the best battle for a spot at the World Finals of I'll ask one more time, please subscribe to the Clash Royale Esports channel. And remember, GG stands for Good Game, not Giant Goblin, even if he tries to convince you otherwise.